that love I deserve. As people, we put walls up because we are afraid of getting hurt. As people, we put our hearts on ice because we've been hurt by our past. Not necessarily always a relationship of love. It's been a family member, a friend, or just being disappointed by life, period. I am she that went on dates alone to understand me. I am she that understands my power. I am she.
Hello, everybody.
Hey. Hey.
Hey, I am honored to have you guys here for Testimonial Tuesday. And today, guess who's blessing y'all with a testimony? No other than y'all hosts. You know me. I'm here actually blessing y'all because I talk about it, but I don't talk about my testimony too often. I talk about it enough, but I don't sit and just really have the long conversation about my trials and tribulations. I'm always getting everybody else to tell a story. So first, we're going to introduce me, which I am Shana Gourdine, the host of Testimonial Tuesday, the author of The Mask Behind the Mask and of The Broken Pieces of the Mask, and also the artist of I Was Always a Rose in the Darkness of Love. We also have co-host Miss Lyrica 7 in the building. Thank you, Lyrica. Hey, she's actually gonna conduct the interviews today. She's heading the interviews today. I'm just gonna talk. So take it over, my friend.
All right. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm so excited about this beautiful queen that's about to bless us with her story of overcoming. She has been such an inspiration. She is an author, as she said. She is an entrepreneur, a life coach. She is a poetess and so many more things. So, Sheena, thank you so much. I mean, I know ever since I've met you, which hasn't even been a full year, I don't think, but you have just been amazing and inspiration. Just someone who is a go-getter, someone who is an example, someone who's always trying to encourage other people to walk in their purpose and just be free. So tell those, I know a lot of people see you, but everybody might not know really your background. So can you just share a little bit about your background before you actually dive into your story?
A little about my background. I am originally from Cross, South Carolina. I now reside in New York.
Some people didn't know that because you do not sound like you're from South Carolina. You have that New York accent, girl. So, right.
I've been here for 19 years. So, listen.
Yeah.
After a while, it just grows on you, I guess. But I've been here for 19 years. I am, like she said, I'm an author. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a life coach. I'm a poet, a spoken word artist. I'm a mother of two. A woman with many hats. I write for Blessings magazine. I also am an entrepreneur. I sell paparazzi jewelry. And I am on a mission to help women be able to know that there's love after trauma, there's life after trauma, and you don't have to stay stuck when you've been through life lessons. We've all been through a trial, but it doesn't mean you have to be stuck there.
Amen. All right. So Sheena, talk a little bit about your story. Like, how did you get into all these different things that you're doing? Like, what inspired you to kind of get into everything that you're all about?
I would definitely say my first inspiration was my kids. Like after you go through a traumatic thing in your life and they see you go through it, it's only necessary to be able to show them that there's a way, there's a way to live after it. Because, a lot of times we get in these situations and it's like, am I going to stay stuck in this or am I going to do something that can better myself? So I decided after I went through domestic violence, after dealing with many different health conditions, why not, take forth and be able to inspire, motivate, and just uplift people that, just because you're going through something, just because you have health conditions, just because life seems to give you a whole deck of cards that you wasn't ready for, to just be able to just switch the vibe and think positive. And I decided to create a book. I decided to take my book, which, my title came from, one, going through domestic violence. The fact is that people like to wear masks when you in these different relationships or just being friends with people or even family members, and you just don't know what they could be hiding in the thing they're walking through. That was one purpose of my first title of The Mask Behind the Mask. The second reason why I actually did that title was because I deal with different health conditions. I have fibromyalgia, I have ankylosing spondylitis, which is arthritis in my spine. It goes the rest of my joints like rheumatoid arthritis. And I have a kidney disease, which is called polycystic kidney disease. And then I have orthosteroiditis. So, it's a struggle to wake up every day in pain and have to function and be a mom, be an entrepreneur, be a writer, be an author, be a motivator. But I just have to thank God and his grace and mercy that I don't look like what I go through. So, just being able to motivate people and inspire them through what I deal with is the best thing.
Absolutely. And you said something key, something that really, really struck me, was you talked about your kids, and that was part of your motivation because you are an inspiration to them. You are inspiring them because they're looking up to you, they're watching you, they see everything you've gone through, you're going through, but you getting up every day moving forward is an inspiration to them. And I know for me personally, my mom is watching tonight. Hi, mommy.
Hi,
Um,
mommy.
my my mom did the same thing. She was an inspiration to me, and that's who I am is because of her. So I just really commend you, and that you, all the moms out there, especially single moms, single fathers, that are just getting up every day and just doing what they have to do for their children. So that's a blessing.
Absolutely.
So you talked a little bit about domestic violence. Can you share just a little bit about that testimony of how that kind of came about and how God brought you through that?
Absolutely. My first incident with domestic violence, I was actually about 7 months pregnant. I was doing against a cabinet. And, I wasn't even thinking about my struggle or my life. I was thinking about the baby that was in my stomach. And then from going through that and then going back to the situation and then going through it again, and I was actually holding my daughter in the midst of this situation.
Wow.
After the first incident happened, I didn't talk about it. I didn't tell nobody. I didn't call the cops. I just kind of kept it in. And then as I went on with life, I ended up in a whole nother situation again. And I just feel that the reason why I encountered that situation is because the fact of the matter is I didn't talk about it. I didn't deal with the problem. And I kind of
Mm,
just allowed myself to still be captured in the moment of allowing people to settle and be comfortable around me. And in my second incident, it was actually worse. Like I got dragged upstairs. I got I got strangled in my sleep. I got attacked. It was a lot. And then in the midst of leaving the situation, because a lot of times we tell people to leave, I left the
mm,
situation and I still was getting stalked in the midst of that. And it's like I got a restraining order. I still was getting stalked. They didn't care about violating the restraining order. They still showing up
mm,
everywhere I was. Until they got arrested, I eventually was able to say I found peace, because from me going through a program to then me taking my kids to a different atmosphere and just having to relocate, I had to literally change my life in order to be in a better situation. But then I then took the steps of going through therapy. And I went through therapy for me and my kids. I went through
mhm.
the process of healing myself and getting to understand why I was allowing these people to be around me, why I was allowing these people to be in my peaceful atmosphere. Because sometimes we allow people around us that we shouldn't even settle for. And we settle for these
Yeah.
situations for things that we didn't heal from in our past. So I've learned that my mission was to do better for me and to definitely do better for my kids. So, just going through that, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself, and I've learned the word no, and I learned boundaries, and basically
Yes.
what I would settle for and what I would not settle for. Because regardless to anything, I would not compromise my peace for nobody.
Exactly, exactly. And you hit on something key and what you said was you talked about there were things from your past that you had not dealt with. And that is so true. There's so many times that there are things that we don't want to deal with, but until we deal with them, we settle for less than what we deserve, and that's exactly what you said you did because of those things. And so until we get healed from those things, then we and learn to love ourselves. And you hit on that, you touched on that about loving yourself, learning to love yourself. Therefore, there are certain things that you won't accept from other people if it's less than what you understand that you deserve and you know your worth. So these are all like, I hope y'all are catching these golden nuggets that she's throwing out here, because she's saying some really, really key things. Um, so on top of that, you mentioned a little bit about your health. So in combination with that, first of all, like, when did all this sickness start? And part two, if it started like earlier on, that was in combination of you still going through domestic violence. You were dealing with these sicknesses at the same time.
The first incident of the domestic violence, no, but second incident, yeah. When I first actually found out about my health problems, it started in 2011, and from 2011 to 2014, I literally didn't or didn't get any answers. Everybody was telling me that it was in my head, that I'm just in pain. They would say pain management, thinking I'm just wanting, pills, because we're always are a statistic when it comes to getting treated at
Yeah.
the hospital, and it's
Mhm.
always they think that we're not serious about our pain, or it's all in our head, or because they don't see anything, then they try to
Right.
give us other excuses. So I had to be the major advocate for my situation. And it's crazy because when they first was trying to give me stuff, they always was giving me ibuprofen. When I finally got me an MRI, it came to find out that I actually had a kidney disease, which ibuprofen wasn't healthy for me. So if I didn't advocate for it, I would have found
Right.
myself damaging my kidneys, because that's what all they were giving me at the moment.
Wow.
So going through that, and then finally in about 2000, so 2014 is when I found out about the polycystic kidney disease. 2015, I found out that I had ankylosing spondylitis. 2016 is when I found out about the fibromyalgia, and then everything else just kind of trickled in. But from the year of 2016 and 17 is when I was dealing with the domestic violence. And in the midst of that, mind you, yeah, I was dealing with the fact of going through my diseases. Like, I even had reconstructive surgery on my thumb, and I was dealing with domestic violence with one hand in the midst of that, because I had surgery. So, I just feel that people try to also put you down and beat on you and all these things in the midst of you trying to go through health cycles and everything else. So yeah, in the midst of all that, I was dealing with that too.
Wow.
So it didn't
Wow.
help. It just made it worse.
Right, right. Oh my goodness. I just thank God for your strength and God just bringing you out. And I mean, man, that's crazy. Something you said, you mentioned about, and I think this is so important, especially in our community to say, is to advocate for yourself when it comes to your health.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you touched on that, because my mom, same situation, where she was going through some health issues dealing with pancreatic cancer. And there's not typically a lot of symptoms and signs with that to catch that early. A lot of people, by the time they
Right.
understand what it is, it's stage 3, stage 4. But they were able to
Mm-hmm.
catch it early because she had pain and she wasn't letting up. Like, no, I have pain. Like, like, you're gonna have to figure this out, because this is, I'm
Yeah.
not making this up, this is real. And thank God she had a beautiful doctor that just went on and did all kinds of tests. But it's important that you say that if people are not believing you, or whatever the case is, or you're not satisfied with answers that you're given, it's important to go get a second, third, fourth, fifth opinion wherever you have to go, because you know your body. So I'm glad you said
Right.
that. And I think that's really important to highlight here, because a lot of people just accept, okay, well, they don't know what's going on and they just accept it. No, don't accept it. Go somewhere else where they understand what's going on with you. So thank you for saying that. Now,
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
uh-huh.
I said
Oh,
absolutely, because
yeah,
like a
yeah.
lot, like I've had a lady reached out to me, and she's been sick for 5 years, and I'm telling her there's nothing wrong with her. I told her she needs to continue to fight and advocate for her, because the problem is a lot of times, they look at us and we feel that they be like, oh, well, being that I don't look like anything's wrong with me, they'll
You're
tell you
right,
that
right.
it's in your head or you're making it
Mhm.
up. Like they told me to go, they literally told me I should go to therapy.
That's
And that
crazy.
was like a year after I figured out what I was dealing with. And what's crazy about it,
Mm.
when I was going to my kidney doctor, he was the one that suggested me to go to the rheumatologist because he's like, you're still in pain. I said, yeah. So being that I told him I was still in pain, he's like, all right, I'm going to recommend you to go to the rheumatologist because they're the reason why you still should be in pain because your kidneys are functioning 100%. So being that your kidneys are functioning 100%, what else is the problem?
Exactly, exactly. And I'm glad you listen. I'm glad you listen to yourself and listen to him, and you went somewhere else where they can actually diagnose you properly. Because like you said, they had you on ibuprofen, which was the exact
Mm-hmm.
opposite of what you needed to be taking. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
God also gives us wisdom. And we have to use that wisdom when it
Listen,
comes to our health. So yeah. So I'm
absolutely.
glad you did, sis. Um so walking through something I wanna ask you about, and maybe you can share with people. I've had countless people, talk to me about when they're going through, whether it's domestic violence, sexual abuse, sexual assault, these type of things, these experiences. One of the things that is kind of like a secondary wounding for them is people telling them to be quiet. People telling them, you shouldn't be talking about this or you shouldn't be sharing this. Well, number one, did you face the same advice? People telling you, "Oh, be quiet, Sheena. Stop talking about it. Don't tell, be quiet." Did you face that? And if you did, how did you push through that?
I can say for me, I didn't face the be quiet and don't talk about it, but I faced the blame game. Well, oh, it was partially your fault, or why did
Mm,
you stay that long, or the different things. But the people that I have, interact with and spoken to, and they weren't able to, open their mouth. I kind of just told them it's time to speak up because a lot of times we
mm,
sweep things under the rugs, we don't talk about it, we
mhm.
hold it in, and then you're
Yep.
still dealing with it in the long run. Like nobody else
Yes.
has walked in your shoes, and nobody else has dealt what you dealt with. Nobody understands the journey you walk, and a lot of times we hold it in, and we're actually damaging ourselves mentally,
Mhm.
physically, and emotionally. And when
Mhm.
somebody else is telling you to shut up, that means they're afraid of truly what's about to come out of your mouth.
Yes.
So a lot of
Yes.
times we got to speak
Exactly.
for ourselves and not speak for others. Everybody has an opinion, but it doesn't mean that it's the right opinion for you. It might be the right opinion for them. Maybe they're too afraid to speak. But at this point, it's time for us to talk about it. It's time for us to talk about the different abuse or whatever someone's dealing with, because so many times we hold on to stuff that truly eats us up inside, and we wonder why we walk around with these masks on, fake happy.
Mm. Yes. Yes. That's a word right there. Fake happying. That is a word.
Fake happy. That's
Girl.
made a word. Fake
Yes,
happy.
yes, yes. There's
Listen.
so many, and look, we've all done it. We have all fake happied, in some situation,
Yeah.
some form or another. But like you said, unveiling that mask, taking that mask off, it's time. Like you can't get healed that way. You can't move forward that way. You cannot really, really be free and walk in your purpose carrying all these masks, all these burdens, all this weight. Like it's
Right.
impossible. So I'm glad you said that. Um,
No fake
I want to,
happy.
yeah, there you go. Okay, y'all, don't be fake happy and y'all be real. Something I want to ask you about too. Again, you touched on your kids, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about your kids. Whereas in obviously, I don't know how much they witnessed, but obviously, I believe your kids or at least the oldest one witnessed something when it came to
They
your
both did.
domestic. Okay, they both witnessed something when it came to your domestic violence. Now, I want to talk about that because there's so many people out there who have children who have witnessed the things that they have experienced when it comes to domestic violence. Now, how did you deal with that as a parent? Like, how did you deal with that? Because I obviously it affected them. So talk a little bit about
Yes.
how you dealt with that.
With my kids, well, first I took them to therapy. I had them take therapy and actually was able to talk about what they're dealing with, because it wasn't just me that went through trauma, they went through trauma too.
Mhm.
Also with them, I have an open or conversation with them. I talk to them about how they feel and the things they go through and how they felt about my situation. And actually every speaking engagement, everything I'm doing, they're actually involved. Like my spoken word album, they're a part of it. And like they see me do
Yes.
these speaking engagements and the motivational things, and they're like, Mom, we understand why you want us to understand what you're going through, or why you want us to see what you deal with, because you don't want us to go through what you've been through. And
Mhm.
that is so true. I don't. I want to give them the tools to be able to be greater than what I don't want them to ever deal with it. It's possible.
Yes.
Could they do it? Yes, but at least I know I took my terms of what I've been through and the mission that I've been through to give them the tools to know that's not right. These are the flags. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let nobody talk to you crazy. If they disrespectful, it's not okay. If they trying to yell at you and call you out the name, is that's also verbal abuse. And I tell them what's emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, and all these different things. So I give them the tools to understand what it could be when it's coming towards them.
Wow.
Also,
And you
Pam
know,
actually has Pam has
uh-huh.
a question in the audience. She
Hey
said,
Pam.
how did I balance? She's on my page. Remember, I was telling you with
Oh, yes,
the
yes.
message on front page.
Mhm.
And it says,
Mhm.
she said, how did I balance the health issues,
Mm.
abuse, and family all at once? What did I do to get here today?
Good question, Pam.
Well, Pam, to answer your question, first, how did I balance the health issues, the abuse, and family? It was hard because when I first walked this journey of dealing with abuse, dealing with my conditions, and dealing with family, I really felt lost for a second, but I had to realize and I had to open up my eyes that there was a message what I dealt with. I was mad. I was
Mhm.
angry. I was frustrated. I was mad at the world. I was wondering why did it happen to me, but I had to realize that what I went through wasn't truly all for me. One, it was
Mm.
one to open my eyes about some things about myself, but two, it was a message for me to be able to help other people walk and be able to set their self free after going through what they've been through. So I went through something horrible, but my mission was to be able to help someone else in the midst of what's going on.
Amen.
The other part of her question is, how did I get here today? I between therapy, giving myself positive affirmations, and being strong and knowing that what I'm doing and my message is to heal someone else. I couldn't ask to be doing anything better right now in the position that I'm in.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Great question, Pam. So I want to talk about your first book. I believe Unveiled Pieces of a Broken Mask was
No,
your first, or was that
the
the first
first
book?
nope. The first book is the mask behind the mask.
The Mask Behind the Mask. Girl, I'm looking
Yeah,
behind you and I'm like,
I know. I know.
The Mask Behind the Mask. Okay, that was the first one. So talk a little bit
Yes.
about what led up to you having the courage and the strength to pen your story, like pen your testimony on paper, because a lot of people are like, I believe that some people have it in them too, that they want to write a book, but it's that fear. It's
Hmm.
like okay, it's
Yes.
one thing for me saying something and a few people hearing it. It's another situation to write a book, an actual book, and the world kind of open up to the world, for the world to really hear and critique, and everybody has their opinion. So what led up to those steps of you being able to actually write your first book?
Listen, it was crazy because as I was writing in my journal, the poetry that I was writing, I was just writing it, and then as I took my very first poem that I wrote, was called "Worries of Many Strengths," and I took it and I had let my therapist read it, and my therapist was like, when you writing your book? And I'm like, what are you talking about? So, I just kind of continued to write, continued to go through it, the emotions that I was dealing with as I was going through my healing. And then I shared it with my father. And then my father asked the same
Mm.
question. He was like, so when you writing your book, matter of fact, that's a sermon. When you speaking. So, just going through this process, and then the last time I shared it again and somebody else asked the same question. So to me, a lot of times as you share this, and people keep asking me the same question, three is a number for me. Three is a
Mm.
reoccurrence. And by the time I hear it the
Yeah.
third time, that means the Lord is talking to me and he's sending a
Mhm.
message through other people. So it's like, all right, what's your next step? So I just decided that, all right, I gotta get uncomfortable. I'm too comfortable just
Mhm.
writing these poems in a book. I'm too comfortable just sitting here not giving the motivation and the positivity that I'm giving myself. So as I went through the program and I allowed and I seen people going through, they still looked like they were still stuck. They still looked at angry and frustrated. And
Mm.
I just wanted more for them. I wanted more for people to be in a better mindset than to be so negative and be so upset because they went through something. Not saying it was the easiest thing to go through, but
Right.
you gotta grow through you gotta
Yes.
grow through what you go through.
There you
And my
go.
point
Go through
was
what you
is
go
for
through.
it, yes, and my message was that I needed to get uncomfortable to then help people be able to heal. And my affirmation for that is helping, empowering, amazing lives. So why not take my message that I write for myself, put it in a book to inspire other people to, regardless of what your imperfection may be or whatever your flaw is, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. But what are you doing after all of that? What are you doing
Wow.
behind that mask when you go sit down in your house and you sit in there looking at yourself one on one? Because a lot of times we all put on a face to go outside. But what are
Mhm.
you dealing? How are you dealing with yourself when you get back in your house? Are you still
Yeah.
carrying that mask? Or are you fixing what's going on so that you can be better when you honestly go outside and want to smile? You really smiling. You're not putting that
Mm.
smile on because you're outside. So
Mm.
that was the purpose of my book: seeing people to be empowered, inspired, and to be able to motivate themselves through the message that I'm
Wow.
delivering. Because
Wow.
hurt people, and if I can help people
Mm.
stop hurting and heal,
Mhm.
then we can live a more happier and deserving life and be more productive. Because a lot
Yes,
of times we sit in
absolutely.
our mess and we'll be drinking, smoking, or whatever else we may be doing, or whatever else drugs we might put in ourselves to stop thinking about what we're dealing with, or stop thinking
Yeah.
about the things that we've been through, or stop thinking about what happened to you the other day or the other night or in college or whenever it may have happened. But we got to learn that we have to heal because you deserve to heal. You deserve to elevate. You deserve to become a better version of yourself. But you got to want it though. You got to want to do the work, because I can take you to the water, but you got to be the one that be ready to drink it.
Exactly. And that's so true. I was talking with someone actually last night, and we were talking about just kind of tapping on to what you were talking about how people turn to so many other things to mask pain, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's sex, whether it's whatever kind of addiction, that floats their
Mm-hmm.
boat basically. And we were talking about the importance of not being so judgmental of
Right.
people and extending grace, because everybody has an origin story, and you never know,
Yeah.
like, what you see is not how they started out to be. You never
Right.
know what
Eh,
people are going through or what people are dealing with or have dealt with. And so we have to always be careful when we are looking at the aftermath of a person, and we don't know what's behind the scenes. So, and what
Absolutely.
mask they're wearing, like you were talking about. So, okay, so Sheena, you got this book, The Mask Behind the Mask. So, this book comes out. So how were you feeling? I know you were nervous, right? Were you nervous
Yes.
about? Yeah, I know you were nervous.
Yeah,
I know you
definitely.
were nervous.
Because you got to think about it. You putting your thoughts, your
Yes,
feelings, and your expressions, and you giving it to the world to
yes.
actually read,
Mhm.
judge, have a
Yes.
thought, anything.
Mhm.
So I was nervous as hell, but something inside of me said, you know what? Go for it. This is
Yeah.
my story. This is my
Mhm.
journey. This is me unveiling my masses and being able to teach people how to unveil those. Like, because talking about, don't turning to other directions. I've been down that lane. Like, I've been down
Mhm.
that lane to where I've used alcohol as a way
Mhm.
to deal with the things I've been through. Like, my brother died in
Yeah.
'07. I've lost my job. I lost the relationship I
Mm.
was in. I lost the apartment I was in. So at that time, I was depressed. Like, my
Yeah.
brother, who I looked up to as a father, I felt like my life was over. And why did they take him?
Yeah.
But he died of cancer. And instead of
Mm.
me dealing with my emotions, I used the bottle. I used to go in my room pretty much every day and I used to drink and go to sleep. I wouldn't answer the phone
Mm.
calls. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to be bothered. And,
Mhm.
I got my wake up call with that too, because one day I went out partying, thinking it was cool, and I was just throwing them back. And me being transparent. I
Mhm.
used to, I was
Mhm.
at the bar and I was just drinking, drinking, drinking. And at that time, my favorite drink was Malibu and pineapples. Give me that
Mm.
coconut rum and some pineapple juice. And the
Mhm.
next morning, I remember waking up and I started throwing up. And I didn't know why I was yakking, didn't know why I was throwing up.
Mm.
So I ended up driving myself to the hospital, get to the hospital and find out that my pancreas was enlarged. We can't live
Wow.
without a pancreas. So that
Right.
was life opening for me because I couldn't leave the hospital till my pancreas, started going back
Mhm.
down. So that
Mhm.
was, God let me know, like, what you doing is not okay. You need to fix what your problem is and figure it out. So,
Mhm.
like, I've been to the process of using something else as a way to heal what I was dealing with. So this is why I can talk about it. I've walked that path.
Right.
And it's not a good
Right.
path to walk if that's what you're using it for. Now, do some
Yeah.
people drink occasionally? Yes, it's wrong with that. But to use it as a clutch, it's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, listen, I am sitting here just like soaking it all in. You are like spitting that fire, and giving so, I mean, just speaking from the heart, being transparent and giving so much wisdom to people. So I just appreciate your honesty and your transparency. And so, okay, so we moved from the mask behind the mask. Tell me how we got unveiled pieces of a broken mask. Man.
So, first book, I told you that you had a mask on. So now, as a life coach, my job is to tell you that we got to break those pieces. So in the book of
Mm,
Unveil the Broken Pieces of the Mask, now I'm breaking down the insecurity, the trust issues, the baggages,
wow.
the fear, all the things that we carry around that we take into these other relationships. Because a lot of
Mhm.
times, if you're taking that mask from one place to another, you're going to continue to drag it on continuously until you fix the mess that you're in. So in
Yes.
that book, I gave people poetry and, positivity and motivation, but I also gave you affirmations. I also gave you
Amen.
questions to ask yourself. I also gave you space in the back to be able to write for yourself, to heal yourself. So this book is for you to work on you and take the
Mm,
pieces off that you are dealing with behind your walls. Like, this is a time you should cherish what you're dealing with and understand yourself and know that you are valuable and know that you're worth something and don't settle for anything. So this is why I prepared this book for people to be able to be in there, get inspired, to be able to get in there and get all these affirmations, because we all might wake up and not have a good day and just need something to empower them. So I give them the
mhm.
affirmations. I give them the space to, after they read my poetry, to be able to then write and answer these
Wow.
questions, because now you get to look into the pieces that are inside of you that you may be dealing with. You might not be dealing with everything I'm dealing with, but you're dealing with something.
Something.
So
Yeah.
I'm giving you the option to do the work.
Wow. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. So, and we're going to, before the show is over, we're going to talk about how people can get the book and everything like that.
Absolutely.
And actually, Sheena, I'm going to ask you too. I want to ask you like one or two more questions, but I want you to share some things, because not only do you have a book out, you have an album that
Yeah,
you just released recently. I mean, this girl is
I do.
doing it amazing, doing it, doing it. So, talk a little bit about the album also.
Okay, so of course, it's near, but I was always a rose in the darkness of love. That came about in the midst of COVID. Just sitting in the house. I just had surgery on the right hand. And just being able to sit there and just listen to the words that the Lord is pouring out to me and just letting me know that it's time to empower and rebuild people. And with this message in this book, I want people to understand, regardless of what you're going through, you still can be a rose in the midst of that darkness,
Mhm.
wherever it may be. The storm might be over you, but it does not define that that's what the rest of your life is going to be like. A lot of times we be going through, just turmoil, toxic, whatever it may be. And it could be something a lot of just your job, whatever it is. But in the midst of that, you don't have to change your character because of what's going on. Because some of us change who we are because of the midst of what we deal with. Some of us become hardened hearts because of the things we lived through. But at the same time, you got to know how to be who you are and grow through the mission that you went through, because it's always a lesson in what you're dealing with. And it doesn't mean that it has to define you, because we all have a past. That don't mean that you got to continue to live there.
Mm. Yes, absolutely. And it's so amazing. Just your story, your story in your life is such a beautiful example of how God will take ashes and make something beautiful out of it. He will give us strength in the midst of despair. He will give us gladness in place of our sorrow. And so everything that you're talking about is just, you're such a beautiful example of that, of God, just that beautiful rose. Like you talked about, the rose in the midst of the darkness, in the midst of everything that you were dealing with, God was perfecting you. God was processing you. God was bringing you out. And it's one of those things where you have that, I like how my best friend Deborah puts it, that no smoke testimony. And that's basically like Shadrach, Meshach, and a bad Negro,
And
Abednego, where basically, they came out and they didn't even look like, the Bible says they didn't even smell like smoke. Their hair wasn't singed. Their clothes wasn't singed. They didn't even look like what they've been through. And that's what God has done with you. And that's what God is doing with us, where we don't even look like what we've been through. And that's a testimony all by
right.
itself. So, Sheena, can you please, please, please share some of this beautiful, inspirational,
She
motivational,
said, please,
girl?
please, please.
Yes,
She
I
said, please, please,
listen.
please.
I'm telling you, because it's
She
it's
like,
just so
yeah,
powerful.
give it to
It's
him.
powerful. Give it to him. Give it to the people, girl. Give it to the people.
Plus, she's like, give it to the people. Yo, I'm gonna get you.
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna say saying goodbye to my yesterday.
Mm.
Yes, I was hurt. Today I'm amazing. Yesterday I was weak. Today I'm strong. Yesterday I was lonely, but today I'm comfort. Yesterday I was unhappy. Today I'm loved. Yesterday will always be a replay, and tomorrow will always be my future. As I
Mm.
forget my past, I use it as a lesson for my future. Remember, we have to fight to be better. Remember, you have to fight to love again. Remember, you have to fight to love all the things within. Remember, you have all the power to prevail. Yes, your yesterday was hard, but tomorrow will help you have a stronger future of your joy. How many different times have you tried to quit on yourself? Many times I felt that I was not good enough to be a writer. I felt that if my poetry wasn't worth reading, a lot of that was the lack of knowing that I had power in my words. As humans, we
Mm.
allow others to tell us that we are not great and what we should do with what our dreams are doing. A lot of times they're putting us doubt in us so that we will not be better than them. Most people that think you are only there for you to wait for you to fail. You must keep your true dream quiet, because the person you are confiding in does not want to see you succeed. They are putting you down and giving you the lack of confidence on your journey. Remember, your journey is not theirs, so they will not give you the dream that your dream much help as what you would give.
Wow. And listen, that's a word all by itself. Let me tell you. And you're right. I mean, there is power in our words. The Bible even talks about it, how death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it will eat its fruits. Whatever you speak out of your mouth, that it will manifest. And I mean, you're speaking life, not just in the story that you're telling, but in your inspiration and encouragement in the lives of so many other people. And so, wow, that's powerful. It's not about our yesterdays, but it really literally is about our tomorrows. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
girl, Sheena, see, I told y'all I was not lying to you. And Sheena, don't kill me. I want you to read one more. Can you read one more to
No,
us?
you're fine. I'm actually gonna read y'all
Okay.
two more.
Oh, okay.
This one is
Look,
called
go
Day.
ahead.
This one is called Day Like This. Many
Okay.
days I've sat in these four walls and cried. Many days I've sat in these four walls and felt love was not good enough. Many days I've sat in these four walls and felt sorry and ashamed of myself.
Mm.
Now, many of us have been in these state of minds because we did not love who we were. We must have the ability to look at ourselves in the mirror and motivate ourselves. Know that we are worth more than the highest form of love that we deserve. You must believe that you're a royalty and you should not be treated nothing less than a king or a queen.
Yes.
Know that you carry the strength to be greater and the knowledge to be better than before. Know that you are powerful than what society made you look like. You do not have to be the product of your environment. Know that you have taken the time to realize who you are and what you stand for. Because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for everything.
Mm. Yes. Amen. Yes. Another word.
And and this one is called damage.
Mm.
As many times as she smiles, she's still hurt inside. At many times she tried to let go, a new perspective popped inside. As many times she moves on to something in her past, it brings her back. It takes her back to the tragedy and the pain that she hated. She is required to remove from her heart and her brain. This beautiful queen is damaged and abused, but always she is rebuilding herself on her throne. Despite the tragedy she has been through, she is determined to be amazing, uplifting, and phenomenal, and inspiring and a woman of purpose, and that's who she may be.
Wow. And how relatable. How many of us have felt just like that, man? Wow, Sheena. Please, please, please. So tell us how we can get the books, how we can get the album, and how people can follow you. Because, girl, I can't even keep up with you. You are everywhere, and when
I
I
know.
mean, like, listen, she actually has another like show that she has to do like right after this. So Sheena is all over the place. So please tell us like how we can
I
follow
am.
you, how we can, get in touch with you and keep up with what's going on.
All right. So my first and second book, Unveil the Broken Pieces of the Mess and The Mass Behind the Mass, is on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Nobles. It's on Books a Million. It's on all the platforms. I was always a doctoress in a row. See, can't even speak right now. I was always
There's so much.
a rose in the, I know, a darkness in the love. That is on all streaming platforms. You can go to YouTube and hear it. You can get
Mm.
it. You can go download and get your own one and put it on your phone on
All
Spotify,
right now.
Apple, all streaming platforms is there. And if y'all even want to use my words on y'all TikTok, y'all Instagram stories, and your Facebook stories, you can just put my name in. You can use my words too. It's there for you. So it's everything. And then I have I'm a part of 4 other books that's already out. And they are all on Amazon as well. I was actually looking for the paper that had all their names on it, but of course I can't find it right now because it's like a million things going on. But one of
Hmm.
my books is a poetry anthology, which is by Angela Thomas Smith. That is on
We love
Amazon.
you,
My other
Angela.
book is called the other book is called Life Struggles, which is by this lady. I think her name is Roma. I'm probably gonna have to put all this in the chat, but that's on
Yeah, I was
Amazon as
gonna.
well. That's just the ebook right now. I also have another book that's out. It's called Winning Ways with Me, an international author, because she's in Nigeria and that's where she published it at. So that made me an international author. And actually, I have women who pray that's gonna drop July 28th, and it's 90 women of us that have 90 different prayers in it, and it's 90 different women that's involved in this anthropology. So I'm super excited for Women Who Pray will be dropping July 28th. And August 31st, the 3Ls will be dropping, which that's the affirmation book. I think it's 128 of us, and that is Lead, Love, and Learn. That'll be dropping August 31st. I have podcasts, which I'll be doing one tonight, which is on Inspiring Author Magazine. That is called Walking in Victory with Summer and Shay. This is this right here on Victory of the Mind page, which is Testimonial Tuesday with me and Lyrica. And then I also have my Rock Bottom show, which is on Rations. That's also every other Saturday. And as always, I do my feel good talk, which is words from the heart. You will catch me every Tuesday at 9 a.m. with pre-videos, there giving y'all positive words and inspiration. You can always follow me on Facebook as Shana Gourdine Author, on TikTok as Sheena Author, on Instagram as Sheena Gourdine Author, on my website, which is www.theladybehindthat's.com. You can find me on my personal page, which is Shana Gourdine as well. You can find me on the Authors Network as well. You can find me on, I'm actually just joined another platform, which is called Tears for Your Purpose Monologues. So I just joined that platform as well. So be looking out for some new things as well, because, you know, I'm always all over the place.
Yes. And she's gonna go back in and put all this in the
I'm going to put all that
chat.
in there.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
listen. Well, Sheena, listen, this has been such a blessing and a privilege for me personally, just to be able to sit and chat with you, chop it up with you, and just again, just hear all the things that God has done in your life and is doing in your life, and just bringing you through. I mean, you are such a testimony of an overcomer and a conqueror, and your story needs to get out there. I'm praying that God will open even bigger doors for you to have bigger platforms, because people need to hear what God has brought you through, the wisdom for me. It's the wisdom for me that God is giving
It's the
you.
wisdom for you.
And it's the wisdom for me, girl, that God is just giving
Before
you with
we
all your
go,
experiences.
we got to talk about my movie that we didn't talk about
Oh,
either.
yes. My gosh. I
That's
forgot.
the
See,
one
girl, it's
project
so much
that we
stuff. So much stuff. Yes, please, 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 please share with us about this movie. Yes.
So actually, we have a documentary that is out, and it is called Through Your Eyes, and that is The Mask Behind the Mask, and that is several survival stories that is talking about what they've been through. I also had my daughter on there, and she was able to talk about how she felt seeing me go through what I've been through, and she wasn't able to do anything. She felt helpless. So, you know, the purpose of the movie is to educate, inspire, motivate, and for people to understand that, you know, you're not just traumatizing me, you're traumatizing other people. And, you know, my kids was traumatized, but I had to learn to teach them how to speak out as well.
Yes, yes, and I've seen that, and it's powerful. It brought me to tears. So that's just amazing, amazing that your daughter was able to share in that experience, and that's something that just working on her healing and going towards
Yes.
her purpose, and even being an inspiration for other kids, other children who have gone through and who have witnessed domestic violence going on. So that really spoke to me. So yeah, that was amazing. Wait a minute, Sheena. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything else, girl.
No, I think
I was
that's
gonna
it.
say I need to write this down. There's so much stuff.
I think
Because
that's
that again,
it for the moment.
that's just a testimony of just how, again, I love the fact that you are a purpose-driven woman. You are all about purpose. You are motivational, and I thank you that you're not sitting on your gifts and talents, but you're using them to bring about healing and deliverance and strength and encouragement to so many people's lives, countless people's lives. So I thank you for being that woman of inspiration for me and so many other people.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, now you can take it back over. Look, you can take it back
So
over.
take it over and close the show.
Yeah. You can close it out now.
All right, guys. I thank y'all, and I honored everybody for watching. I thank you for all your inspirational words. I will go through and look through all the comments, because today I was not the host and I wasn't
Yeah,
able to
she
look
can.
at
Right,
everything.
right.
But I did see a few things. But I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate y'all for your support. And I support, you know, we gonna continue to advocate and, you know, do the things that we need to do, because people need to understand that they pass don't define them. What you do does not have to define your situation now, and your future is always brighter than what your yesterday was.
Yes.
So I thank y'all. Tune in next Tuesday for our Testimonial Tuesdays. We will see you guys later. Look,
Love
let me
you.
find the exit video.
Oh, yeah.
Join host Shana Gourdine and Lyrical 7 for Testimonial Tuesdays for 3 Tuesdays of each month. The testimonies that their guests give are not only life-changing, but they are also powerful and emotional as well. So please, join us as we go on this testimonial journey.